session. For completion of this task, the Parliament conducts 3 sessions in a year, which is known as budget session, monsoon session, and winter session. However, the same legislative procedure of 3 readings is followed in all these 3 sessions, but each session has its own different significance and relevance. With the Parliament open for business for the monsoon and winter session, there are several important pieces of legislation that need to be passed. The procedure to produce the bill and pass the bills from both houses are same, but in this process, various motions and questions can be raised in the House as per the requirement and necessity. So, in this particular presentation, in this particular video, we are going to have a basic introduction regarding these various motions and questions and different types of R's which can be raised in the House, but just only a basic introduction will be given in this particular video, and the post-class assignment has been given to the students with a purpose that they have to study and get and find out the various incidences when these motions or questions or R's has been raised on the floor of a house in the history of India, legislative history of India. So, to start with, monsoon session is dedicated largely to discussion on matters of public interest. It is during the monsoon session that the members of parliament, including the ministers, can bring forward the legislative proposals in the form of a bill. The government can move a resolution or a motion to get approval or opinion of the House on policy-related issues and matters of grave concern. The MPs can also move a resolution in order to draw the attention of a House on specific problems and initiate discussions on matters of urgent public importance. Precisely speaking, after the end of the budget session in the month of March, the 2 months break will be taken, and then the monsoon session was begin in the month of June or July. And this session is particularly focused on the purpose of legislating the laws and the policies regarding the public importance or public significance. Winter session generally takes up the issues that could not be deliberated upon and makes up for the lack of legislative business during the second session, that is monsoon session of the parliament. The member of parliament not only debate on administrative policies in the winter session on the floor of the parliament, but also makes sure that the government gets the drift and becomes aware of its lapses. The accountability of the government is also checked in the winter session, as the existing government is also checked in this session through various forms of motions, questions, and discussions. So, let's discuss what is the basic introduction of these various motions, questions, and discussions, or R's. In a parliamentary procedure, a motion is a formal proposal by a member of a parliament, deliberative assembly, that the assembly take some action. The standard code of parliamentary procedure divides motion into 5 classes: privileged motion, subsidiary motion, main motion, restorative main motion, incidental motion. Along with this standard division, there are various other motions and questions and R's raised in the floor of the House. Privileged motions are the motions which do not relate to the pending questions but have to do with matters of such urgency or importance that, without debate, they are allowed to interrupt the consideration of anything else. These motions are on urgent matters that must be dealt with immediately, even if they interrupt pending business. These motions are adjourn motion or adjournment motion. Adjournment motion is generally a motion which terminates the meeting of the House. An adjournment motion is an extraordinary procedure which if admitted, leads to setting aside the business of the House for discussing a definite matter of urgent public importance. And this motion can be moved only with the consent of the Speaker of the House. Its adoption is regarding as a sort of censure of the government, and the purpose of adjournment motion is to take the government to task for a recent act of omission or commission having severe consequences. The next one is the recess. Recess permits a short intermission in a meeting until it is called up back by the chair of the House or by the presiding authority of the House. Then raise a question of privilege. This motion permits a request or main motion related to the rights and privileges of the Assembly or any of its members to be brought up for immediate consideration because of its urgency. Then call for the orders of the day. This motion requires that the adopted agenda or order of business be followed. It is generally called as Mr. Chairman, I call for the order of a day, or Madam President, I demand the regular order. Then the next category is the subsidiary motions. Subsidiary motions are the motions which assist the Assembly in treating or disposing of a main motion. They have the effect of hastening action upon, delaying action upon, or modifying the main motion. These are the motions which affect the main motion being considered. These are lay on the table, that is, lays a pending question aside temporarily when something more urgent has arisen. Previous question, that means ends the debate and orders on immediate vote and called up a new one. Limit or extend debate, extended debate. Modifies debate by limiting or extending the number or length of speeches is so that the speaker's time be extended is the limit or extended debate. Then the next one is postpone to a certain time, which differs consideration of a definite day, meeting or hour or until after some particular event, so that the existing motions will be postponed until after the address by the guest speaker. Then refer to a committee which gives a motion more detailed attention or permits it to be handled in privacy. Then amend, which allows to modify a main motion by inserting, adding, striking and inserting, striking and adding, or substituting some specific language in the existing bills or policies. Postpone indefinitely, disposes of a question without bringing it to a direct vote. The next category of motion is main motions. Main motions are the motions which brings business before the Assembly and which can be made only while no other motion is pending. It generally starts, I move, we have a banquet. These motions bring business before the Assembly when no other motion is pending. This is the most common type of motion. Then the next one is incidental motion. Incidental motions are the motions which deal with questions of procedure and arise out of another pending motion or item of business. With the exception of the motion to appeal from the ruling of the chair, they are not debatable. These are the motions which relate in different ways to the business at hand. These are point of information, which inquires as to the facts affecting the business at hand and is directed to the chair or through the chair to a member. Parliamentary inquiry, in which request to the chair opinion, not a ruling on a matter of parliamentary procedure as it relates to the business at hand. Division of the assembly calls for a verification when a member doubts the accuracy of a voice vote or shown of hands. Division of a question permits a motion to be divided into two or more parts in order that they may be considered separately. Withdraw of motion permits a member to remove his or her questions from consideration even after the motion has been restated by the chair. Objection to consideration suppresses business that is undesirable or that might prove damaging to the organization. Suspend the rules temporarily sets aside a rules to permit the assembly to take an action it could not otherwise take. Appeal from the ruling of the chair challenges a ruling of the chair. A majority vote sustains the ruling. Point of order challenges an error in procedure and requires a ruling by the chair. And the last but not the least motion as per the standard rules of procedure is motions which brings a question again before the assembly. These are reconsider. Reconsider allows a question previously disposed of to come again before the assembly as if it had not previously been considered. The motion to reconsider can be made only by a member who voted at the prevailing side and only on the same day the original vote was taken. The motion is debatable only if the motion to be reconsidered is itself debatable. Discharge a committee. This takes place a matter out of a committee's hands and places it again before the assembly as a whole. Discard a motion previously adopted. This voids a motion previously passed. Take from the table. This allows the assembly to resume consideration of a motion previously laid on the table. Apart from this classification as per the standard rules of procedure, there are several other kinds of motions also can be placed on the floor of a house, like motion of thanks. In this, the president's address as per Article 86 and 87, that means the first session after each, that is addresses made out in the first session after each general election. He also addresses the first session of every fiscal year in which he outlines the policies and programs of the government. Both the houses of the parliament discuss this address on a motion called the motion of thanks. At the end of discussion, voting takes place. The house must pass this motion, otherwise it amounts to defeat of the government. Question hour. The first hour of the parliament is known as question hour. During this time, members can ask questions to the government and its ministers. Question hour definitely not only ensures the opposition keeps the government in power honest, but also ensures that the public is provided with authentic data that the bureaucracy has examined and vetted. Such questions therefore indirectly force the bureaucracy to answer important questions and create an indirect accountability mechanism by which the bureaucrats can be held accountable. There are three types of questions which a member can ask on the floor of the house. Starred question. Starred questions are the questions which can be asked orally by a member of parliament to a minister. The member of parliament can only ask one question per day. It has to be submitted 15 days in advance to the chair of or the presiding authority of the house. And in total of 20 such questions are permitted in a day. The second category is the unstarred questions. These questions receives a written reply from a ministry. Member of Parliament has to submit an unstarred question 15 days in advance to the presiding authority of the House. A total of 230 unstarred questions are permitted per day. Short notice questions are the questions which pertains to a matter of grave public importance. It can be asked with less than 10 days notice, and it is asked orally in Parliament and is used very rarely. Then 0 hour. The hour in Parliament immediately after question hour is known as zero hour. It is used to raise urgent matters that cannot wait for other procedures. A member of Parliament can raise an issue during zero hour by giving notice before 10 a.m. on the day of the sitting. Then calling attention. The concept of calling attention is of Indian origin. It is an innovation in the modern parliamentary procedure in which the government has adequate opportunity to state its case. It is a combination of asking of question for answer with supplementary and short comments. It gives member an opportunity to bring to the surface the failure or inadequate action of government on a matter of urgent public importance. This procedural device is analogous to an adjournment motion without its censure aspect. Half an hour discussion. Members have a right to get information from the government on any matter of public concern by means of questions to ministers. When a member feels that the answer given by the question is not complete, or the desired information has not been communicated, or if it needs elucidation on a matter of fact, he may be allowed by the speaker to raise a discussion in the House for half an hour. Adjourn sine die. An adjournment motion is used to suspend the proceedings of a House temporarily to meet at another time. When the House has not determined when it will reconvene, it is adjourned sine die or indefinitely. No confidence motion. A no confidence motion, also known as trust vote or floor test, and can be moved by a member of parliament against the council of ministers if the member of parliament feels that the government of the day has lost the confidence of the house. If 50 or more members second the motion, the house will debate it, after which it is put to vote. A motion of no confidence can be introduced only in Lok Sabha. Thank you. This is all about the various kinds of motions which can be introduced on the floor of a house and which can be introduced in the monsoon session or winter session, and accordingly the proceedings conducted during the monsoon session and winter session. Now the post-class assignment will be given to the students, in which they have to work out on the various actual incidences took place in the house regarding these various motions and questions, raising of questions or asked. Thank you.